We did this during the middle of the year, midterms. What we're going to do is today we're going to do all the teams that are not in the playoffs this year. We're going to give them final letter grades for the year. Because student game here.
That's right.
And then we'll do every week following next couple weeks. Is that every team's eliminated from wildcard weekend. We're going to give them their letter grades, put them away for the year, and so on as we get to the Super Bowl. So.
And also, as a side note, EJ Christian, if people want to leave any sort of comment or appeal for an improved or worsened grade, I'll listen to it, and maybe in an episode upcoming, I'll make an adjustment if I am swayed therein. I can give extra credit as a teacher.
God, you're the best. Okay, hold on. Let me just make sure I get this in order because I want to make sure I get this correct.
Oh, look at this guy. Correct.
All right, so the Atlanta Falcons are first. The Atlanta Falcons this year finished the season, I believe, 7-10. So, Kyle.
As much as I slam the fraud cons for what it is they do in their brand of football, which I just don't enjoy, the worst I can do for them is a C-, because they did around or just a little worse than what I thought they would. They weren't that fraudulent this year. Sure, my good friend Danny Parsons is still angry about the fact they didn't draft Micah Parsons. I get it. But because they need the defensive help.
You mean Danny Thompson?
Yeah.
Is it Danny Parsons?
Well, might as well be Danny Parsons, the way he was so high and in love with the Micah Parsons concept of him in Atlanta. But yeah, Danny Thompson, right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think a C is also right because they actually were a little better than we thought they were going to be this year.
No, they were below. Did I have them at? Actually, you said. I don't remember if I had them at 5 wins or 7 wins. You know what? I'll just make it an even C, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I kind of have the same idea though too. Also, like they were not a team that I thought would be good this year. I thought this was like a rebuilding year or whatever. But they actually were in the playoff hunt for at least the last 2 weeks. So
no, not really. It's because everybody was in the playoff with an extra space. Listen, check your expectations on one thing here in my classroom, Ernest Christian. Okay, I don't care. Playoff competitive is not the key to a high grade. Everybody felt playoff competitive, especially in the damn AFC. I don't know. Was your wife playoff competitive in the NFL? Maybe. I don't know. There was that much competition in the AFC. And your wife's a pretty big she's a pretty badass.
Yeah, she is. All right. The Baltimore Ravens, 8-9.
Baltimore Ravens at 8-9. Listen, I've got to slam. I saw a lot of great effort, but at the end it was disappointing. Our good friend Big Jim said, "Oh, how embarrassing." No. The only game that was embarrassing was the loss to the Dolphins. Okay, you have a 1-point loss to the Packers and a 1-point loss to somebody else good who I forget it was, and then you fell just short in winning what is the best rivalry in the NFL currently. That could change next season with Roethlisberger's retirement. In a situation where the backup quarterback threw an interception in the end zone, something we expect Roethlisberger to do, and what really would have prevent Justin Tucker from having to come onto the field at all, okay? The Christmas cards next year need to go to Huntley if you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm not saying Huntley's a bad quarterback. I'm saying he had the mistake that gave the Steelers that game. It's unfortunate. Props, of course, to TJ Watt for getting the record and all that stuff. I'm going to put them at a B-. They played a lot of good football despite having to deal with a lot of extra stuff, had a lot of problems at home. We're dealing with injuries and things like that. I reward good effort in my class, but they are a disappointment. I can't give them an A. Heck, I had them picked to make a Super Bowl run. But when a student has challenges outside of the classroom that cause problems, at the end of the day, you got to give them a little slack. You can't be unreasonable. I have the Ravens at B-.
I'm at a C, but I see the point where you're at though. I honestly thought when they were 8-3, I was still concerned about sustaining because the fact that they came to the year banged up anyway. Like they went from a team that I thought could have
got worse. Yeah,
I thought they came to the year as a team that I thought could make a run for the Super Bowl, to a team that with all the injuries that, are you sure you're a playoff team? And then they upsell. No. What I'm saying was, they lost Marcus Peters and all those running backs. So the vibe was coming into the year, the last couple of days before the year started, oh, this team's in trouble.
And please remember how tough their schedule actually is. It's not like it's the AFC South.
So then they go 8-3, and they're really good. But I remember even through the year, I was saying I'm still a little concerned because of the injuries could have sustained it. And then Lamar goes down. Lamar stays healthy. They're in the playoffs, and he's probably the MVP.
Yeah, I mean that could be. And please remark, there's 3-4 games decided within about 4 points.
Yeah,
literally.
And the only reason I gave him a C is because of those things. Because if they had to convert those games, had to convert those plays, that's more something you just do in the moment. They obviously in the playoffs, win division, probably in a 2, even 1 seed in the AFC. So I gotta give I supported Harbaugh's decision on there, but they didn't convert it, so I have to give him a C at least for that.
I can't punish a team because of injuries. That's just inappropriate to me. But whatever.
Right. Okay. The next team here we have the Carolina Panthers, who were 5-12.
Yeah, that's about where I had them, and still somehow I feel like they're worse than that. Absolutely. I mean, listen, I like Cam Swag and everything, but when you made what was essentially a marketing move to get butts in the seats and to get tickets sold, yeah, what more do I have to say beyond that? I mean, you can. I know it's proper to slam on, but Matt Rule is getting all this hate against him. I'm not prepared. Say again.
A lot of chatter about Matt Rule, whether he'll be there long term. He's 7-year contract. I mean, don't see him.
I don't think Matt Rule's the problem, y'all.
Right.
Anyways,
I went D on this one. Once they lost McCaffrey, the wheels came up immediately. Now they obviously fell apart, like complete fell apart, like by week 6, week 7. Remember they started 3-0.
Against who? Exactly.
No, I get it, but they started 3-0. And there was some hype about this team being decent coming to the year. Their overall number was 7 this year coming to the year, which I felt was kind of high in the first place.
Right.
I didn't understand why it was so high.
Well, the problem, the reason why you got a number A that's so close to the middle and B, while it was so air quotes high, is because their ceiling was pretty good. If Darnold works out and he breaks out like many people told us he allegedly would, then we're having a different conversation. This is going to be a B level team. But that didn't happen here. And that was one of several things that they called incorrectly. And you keep, and listen, of course, run CMC is a factor, okay? But at the end of the day, if they had McCaffrey, would they have won any more games to speak of? I don't think the answer is yes.
Maybe 1 or 2 more. Maybe 1 more.
And they win a lot more. They're still below expectation that you set there.
This is why I put them in D.
And then over and above that, I'm not convinced they do it. That's why they're at F.
Right. Okay. We have the Chicago Bears, who are 6-11.
Yeah. I believe I had them winning 5 games. And I was one of these that figured inevitably that their new rookie starter would come in and take the place of Andy Dalton. I was right. And there were some bumps and bruises in the road, but you started to see a little bit of positive movement. Heck, they did enough to at least fool Big Jim of the Huddle Up podcast into putting him in the top 10 at one point. But this team, I'm going to have to give them a C-. This is still a bad football team that needs a lot of work, but they're currently meeting expectation, and they're in a situation where I feel like improvement could be coming next season, especially in the division they're in, right? If the Vikings are on a downtrend and the Lions continue to be the Lions, and our hope that Matt Campbell helps get the North right there with the Lions, if the worst case scenario happens for those franchises, the Bears could slide back into the number 2 team in the division. So there you go.
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is, or
I gave him a D. There was a chance for them to really be the number 2 team in that division, and they failed. There was an opportunity to do that, and they failed. They were actually somewhat solid at the start of the year. Beat the Bengals and a couple other, they were like, I think 3-2 1 point. And it said at one point, Big Jim had the number 10 in his rankings.
That was mostly a joke, but
Yeah, but as I'm saying, but then they fell apart like fast.
Not as big a joke as your top 10. Anyways.
Wow. You dick. Wow.
Wow.
You disrespectful, stupid idiot.
Anyway. But yeah, this disappointment. I mean, the way that was a fail was a bit of a failure this year. Yeah. A lot of work to be done. I'll give him a D. Not quite an F though, but a D. Definitely a lot of work to do. We'll see who they hire as head coach next. I said they got Brian Flores lined up, and I saw Doug Peterson also taking interviews as well too. So
wow. So far, your gradings, you're all about the D.
Yeah, all about the D. Yeah, shut up. This is changing very soon. Next team here, Cleveland Browns, who were also 8-9.
God, it feels like they're worse than that, though, doesn't it?
I'll spoil it here. They got an F.
Wow.
F.
Wow.
This team was literally a team I had as many people had as a conference championship team.
Okay, hold on.
That's what you had.
Did you have them a conference championship team?
I think I had the Chiefs against.
Did I have them as a conference championship team?
I'm talking about everybody else.
Was it really anybody outside of the state of Ohio, Ernest Christian?
No. There's a lot of writers nationally who were saying the Browns are in the AFC title game.
Okay, well, national writers, whatever. At the end of the day, Ernest Christian, sometimes unfair expectations are put on students, and not in my classroom, though.
Get the job done.
And I'm not going to hold that against them. If you want to and you want to give them an F, that's cool. You know, for me, in this case, I'm more inclined to give them a D. Listen, little Baker Mayfield has been acting out of class regularly. He's been a problem. But that being said, leaning to certain things like Odell Beckham Jr.'s departure, which I'm sorry, I never thought was a fit, is addition for subtraction for that squad. And he's also doing good in LA with the Rams. I think that was a win-win. But they need to reevaluate the quarterback position. They need to keep them out of ending up in a situation like the Cowboys and Dak Prescott with Baker Mayfield's contract upcoming, right?
At least Dak is good.
Damn. That's kind of my point, though, right? Granted, this is still a great running game, but the problem with great running games in this NFL is running backs get hurt a lot, and the defense isn't bad. There's some there. I can't give them an F because their schedule was tough. Absolutely correct. They're in one of the tougher divisions in the NFL, and really, I kind of feel like they give me a vibe that if they got a good quarterback, if they had Teddy Bridgewater, they might have actually made the playoffs instead of somebody like Baker Mayfield, who runs hot and cold, not only in his play, but with his antics, and is a guy that's more about causing distraction than getting results, as we've kind of seen. I mean, heck, he's picking fights with the media at this point. And I can't say anything for Mary Kay Cabot's article. I didn't read it, but what I can tell you is that drew a lot of buzz and was a distraction. I know it's going to be denied that it was, but you're not selling me on that, So all the above being said, I can't give them an F. That's like you came out with the paddle, and you do what you need to do. But
this team, again, they made the playoffs last year, won a playoff game, was actually a quarter away from going to the AFC title game last year. They had the Chiefs on the ropes in 2-3 quarters.
Or was that more about the Chiefs not really waking up? I mean, come on.
Could be, but the facts of the case are they were in that game. If I'm not mistaken, they had a lead in the fourth quarter at one point. So,
I have to be honest, I don't remember that.
Yeah, but the point is, this team, a lot of people had them going to the conference championship. So even if they took a step back record-wise, if they made the playoffs, okay, we're supposed to be there. That they had argued the best roster in football. A lot of people said that the best roster in football. The question of the quarterback, and the quarterback failed, and the roster failed as well too. So there you go. So that's why I got enough from me. Anyway, next team, the Denver Broncos, who were also 7-10.
The Denver Broncos.
I didn't steal that one from Jim, unfortunately.
You don't need to. I'm voice acting.
Thank you, buddy.
He's acting. It's like Team America. Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Anyways, no, man. So especially with the Fangio firing. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Fangs.
The firing of the Fangs sounds like a great vampire novel. Anyways, I'm going to put them at a C minus. Again, their division's competitive. I don't think they match up well in their own division. They got a problem at the quarterback position. I'm not really excited about their offense between the hashes. Their receiver core is pretty damn smooth. Their defense is underperforming too. I'm not here to say it's bad. I'm just here to tell you it's not as good as what people were expecting, especially with Von Miller and the hizzy there. I'm going to go C minus for them. I could be, you know what? I'll even go D plus. I'll go D plus.
D plus. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go C because they matched the Vegas number at 7. I mean, they might have been 7.5 actually, but in any case, they were right in that ballpark. But I don't think we all understood how good the AFC West was. I don't think people thought the Raiders would be as great as they were this year.
Yeah, no, the Raiders surprised me.
So a lot of that too also. They match where it should be. Maybe if Teddy's healthy, they get another win out of that. Teddy's better than Drew Lock, in my opinion.
Definitely.
So, I mean, maybe they get another win somewhere. I mean, so, I mean, they have a good roster, but maybe a little shake-up. Obviously, they just fired Fangio this weekend, so maybe they get another coach in there and change things up. Maybe they get aggressive and go after Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson.
You're assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to leave Green Bay, which I don't think we can do like we did this time last year.
Well, Russell Wilson, too, especially because, if you believe the rumors about his list of teams that he'd like to go to drop his no trade clause for, the Broncos were on that list. So
really,
yes, it was. It was Giants, Broncos, and Saints.
I did not know.
You didn't know
that Denver was on, or I shouldn't say I didn't know. Let me restate. I had kind of forgotten it.
Yeah, it was
because now that you're saying it, you've shown me the list, and I remember it being on there, and I had forgotten because I'm like, the Broncos, whatever. Well, there might be some there. Can you imagine Russell Carrington Wilson throwing to Jerry Jeudy?
Oh boy!
Like, name me a receiver he's had that's actually better than Jerry Jeudy. Time's up. You can't because he doesn't exist.
Right. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, the list was Broncos, Giants, and Saints. Was his list. So. Okay. Anyway, next team here we have the Detroit Lions, who I believe were 3 wins this year. Were they 3 wins here? Make sure of that. Yeah, 3-13. 3-13-1.
I mean, the expectations were pretty low on this team. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to give them an A for effort, but I'm going to give them a D for doing. I can't give them an F because, damn it, this is a scrappy team. This is a team that busts their behind and does things. And you think that they're gonna win, and then they don't. But at the end of the day, like, this is a team that could have just as easily had 6 wins as 3, and that's still not very impressive. but 6-10 is still a garbage year. But I see if the Lions have a good draft, that could change. I don't know what they're going to do about their quarterback situation. I really think they took a severe downgrade with Matt Stafford. So, yeah, that's why I have it the way I have it.
Yeah, I can't give him an F either. Got to give him a D.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to put him C minus. But the thing is, though,
that's a little high. Wow.
Yeah, but you won only 3 games. I mean,
yeah,
you find a way to at least win more, at least 2 or 3
In
more.
fairness, they did tie 1.
Yes, they did. Against the playoff team.
That's right.
Albeit without Big Ben though too. Don't forget that. But yeah, they were definitely a team that was very frisky at times.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, I can't go higher than a D and lower than a D. So.
No, you're all about lower than the D, aren't you?
Apparently, I am.
Yeah, this is why you watch the cock. Anyways,
you damn right.
That's the peacock, you pervs.
Relax. Anyway, next team here we have the Houston Texans, who were 4-13.
You say 4-13, and I feel like that they were better than that. I'm not going to give them a C or anything stupid, but if I were to say to you, hey, the Titans are going to struggle to beat them in Week 18, and give Titans fans some sort of credibility, and they're complaining about us talking, I'd be like, the heck you say? No. Listen, joking aside, I feel like they did overproduce. Dave Mills is better at quarterback than I would have imagined. But this is still a mediocre team at best. A C would be the upper range. I can't give them that, winning only the games that they did. So I'm going to have to say, listen, just because a student does better than you think he's going to throughout the school year doesn't necessarily mean they did well. It's just that their low performance wasn't as low as you thought. So with all that in mind, let's go D with the Texans.
I'm gonna go with C minus. Actually, I'll tell you why. They actually doubled my number. I am going 2-14 this year. 2-15. Sorry, 2-15 this year. I think he used to fucking 17.
I think I had him at 3. I would have to look up my AFC South preview on the3pointconversion.com to confirm it.
Yeah,
but
this team was set to fail this year.
Yes.
Okay, so
not just fail, but the worst in the league. Like where Jacksonville is, they were supposed to be.
And I actually made the case this year that they could go 0-17. Like there was actually a real talk on this podcast. I said in August.
Not only
it might have been with you or somebody else.
It was with me, and I was talking with somebody who was in ESPN Houston, Patrick Creighton, who thought the very same thing you did.
Yeah, Patrick Creighton, former Dallas Cowboy.
You asked me this last time, and I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. I'll look it up. Because I used to hate that guy. So, but anyway.
But you're a Cowboys fan. Why would you hate a Cowboys player?
Shut up.
What?
No.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, listen, you're the one that had them ranked higher than the 49ers. You want to talk about disgusting?
And they won the first game of the year, right out the chute against the Jaguars. I was like, well, congrats. It's the only win of the year. It's still one more.
That's true. Yeah,
we're competitive. That's the last half of the year. I will say that. I'll give a C minus. So,
okay.
And then also don't forget too. Also the whole Deshaun Watson thing hanging over their head the whole year.
Okay, I'll raise it to D plus.
Okay, there you go.
By the way, also your wife's nickname for you.
Ooh.
There's Frisky for you.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Here we go. We got a lot to talk about this team. The Indianapolis Colts, 9-8.
Oh yeah. So here's what's funny, EJ Christian. They finished exactly where I thought they would, 9-8. I picked them to win 9 games on the 3pointconversion.com when I wrote the AFC South preview. But it's the way they got to 9-8 that's so damn disappointing.
Yes. Totally with you.
Granted, I expected a few teams in the AFC to do a bit better than they did to keep the Colts out. For one, I thought the Steelers were going to be stronger, and I expected more from the Ravens as well. What ended up happening is the Colts supplanted the Ravens and their underachievement. That all being said, the Colts had a great solid 2 months, as you described it.
Yeah.
Their horrible ending doesn't put me in a position to give them like a D.
Right.
But I am going to finish with a C plus. You should have been in the playoffs, and to lose to a team that, it's weird. They were able to knock a team out of the playoffs, the Jacksonville Jaguars, while also being the first round overall pick.
Right.
You let that happen, Colts. That's why I can't give you a B. You got a C plus.
I gotta go. I'm definitely in a C range, but I'm kind of leaning towards C minus because, okay, so I'm gonna give you credit for getting out the hole. Remember, they started the year off. Of course, once hurt. Quentin Nelson hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, their best player on the team, Quentin Nelson. Yes, folks.
I'll agree.
Trenches matter. And the schedule was out the chute tough. Start 1-4. If we forget that, it started 1-4. Okay, so people thought they're done for the year. And somehow they get back into it. Next you know, we're now week 17, entering week 17, and they literally are just a win-and-in situation. And they fall apart against the Raiders team that was still.
You blew it!
Raiders team trying to figure it out on their, at home. And then, of course, what happened this past weekend against the Jaguars. So in the end, I got to give them C minus. It's because of the failure at the end. I can't go D, but I have to. If you're in position to win in 2 weeks in a row and you can't get a job done, one against a Raider team that's not inferior to you, obviously, and then the Jaguar team who was if not the worst team, one of the worst teams in football, obviously. So I think the Giants are the worst team in football, for the record. I gotta go C-.
I mean, the numbers say the Jags, but not saying you have to agree with it. I'll put it that way.
I test as Giants. I watch Giants games, unfortunately, and it's bad. Jake Fromm, State Farm. I gotta, so I don't know. Very disappointing. Now, I'm not saying they should fire Frank Reich. I'm not going that far.
Oh no, I don't think they should either, for the record.
Right. But there's definitely, and I'm not saying that Carson Wentz is done, but definitely, but I will say eyebrows were raised.
Sure.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, next team here we have the staying in the division, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 3-14.
Yeah. So there was a range of expectation set between, based on my conversations, because we were still running Beyond the Buzzer, me and Danny Thompson. We had Travis Holmes, former writer for BigCatCountry.com. Excuse me. And we thought that the lower expectation was 3 wins for the Jags. And for the absolute debacle that was Urban Meyer has to make this just an F in and of itself. Yeah. I could even argue it's an incomplete because Urban didn't even finish the season. We've seen enough plays to know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a damn star in this league. That is a fact. Okay. But I still have to give the franchise an F because you have that good of a quarterback and you have 3 wins in a sorry division. Now that'll be all.
Yeah, they should have won at least 5 games this year.
I don't know about should have, but well, actually, yeah. In light of the fact they have the 3 that they did, yeah, I can make an argument for should have won 5. That's fair.
What's worse, F plus, F minus? What's worse?
F minus would definitely be worse.
Okay, F minus it is then. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm saying incomplete. Like they didn't even finish the year. I mean.
And it's the totality also, the Urban stuff too.
Correct.
You got ownership as well. Is got to share and responsibility and blame for how that was handled as well too. F minus by far. It was horrible. Nice ending to the year, but overall, should won at least 5 games. That's where I was at on this team. I didn't think they'd be this fucking bad. But here we are. Anyway, next team here we have the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 9-8.
They're only about a game or so under what I have. Their defense is the problem, and their defense is the reason that I'm putting them at a B minus. This is a team that has to play the Kansas City Chiefs twice. This is a team whose only cupcake games in the division are the Colts. Or check that, the Broncos at this point. The Colts. Whatever, they're both horses. Screw it. But yeah, I don't feel like the Chargers were handed a very favorable situation within their division. Now, I mean, you're out here, you lost to the Cowboys. The one win I think that gave them any credibility. You got murdered by the Ravens. You lost to the Vikings. And oh, by the way, you did lose to the Broncos once this year. You underperformed. You know what? And you lost to the Texans. You know what? You talked me into it, Chargers. Your inconsistency puts you right in the middle. You're a C. You got a C.
No, I'm going lower than that. I'm going D plus because again,
they beat the Rams, and you're gonna. Well, no, that doesn't count. That's preseason.
I don't care. D plus.
Why? I'm not need to hear this.
I had them winning 11 games this year at least. Okay.
Oh, that's on you.
And it's also the way they lost it. You could argue the Houston Texans is the reason why they're out of the playoffs now.
Oh, clearly. Indubitably. Absolutely.
Your coach, I don't know, dude. I'm not saying fire the guy, but he's questionable. Some questionable decision making there on his part. And not just on Sunday, but throughout the year. To be honest with you, I admire aggression to some degree, but sometimes you have to peel back a little bit. 4th and 2 on your 18-yard line. Yeah, not smart. Sorry.
You got a little too buried. You got a little too buried in the analytics on that one. Clearly,
your defense is one of the worst in the league, and you're a defensive coach. That's your background. Not good either. And then the way you fell apart. Remember, you guys were 4-1. You guys started 4-1. You guys were the team that can give KC problems. You guys
did.
And
Let's put it what it is. And did.
and did, and yet couldn't finish the job. That to me, it's a disappointment. You guys should have been a playoff team. You guys should not been a playoff team. You should have been a probably a division winner if you think about it, and didn't close the deal. So
I can't blame them for the Chiefs deciding to find signs of life. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now because I don't want to grade the Chiefs yet. We're not there yet.
No, we won't be there till the season's over when they win the Super Bowl. You heard that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, that might actually be possible, but I mean, the reason why they're going to get in the Super Bowl is because the AFC is so disappointing.
Exactly. This is why the Titans by default are a contender, as I told you.
Yeah, you put them at fifth or lower.
And don't look at the credit to them. Again, it's not a credit to them. It's just the environment. Anyway, next team here we have the Miami Dolphins, who went 9-8.
Yeah, the Dolphins were disappointing. You tried to sell me Tua. I wrote in 2019 that you need to not draft Tua this year. You need to rebuild one more year, and then the following year, this year, get clever for Trevor. You didn't do that. Look where you are. You're firing one of the better coaches, certainly within your own division. I can argue the best coach not named Bill Belichick in your division, because who the bleep's better than Bill Belichick right now in the league, other than maybe, I don't know, Andy Reid? You know? And this is what we got. Now, I'll grant you, 8 wins is great. That's going to stop me from giving you an F.
9 wins.
9 wins, thank you. 8 wins in a row, I should say, right?
7 in a row.
You sure?
Yeah, won 7 in a row, lost Tennessee, beat New England.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was 8 in a row. Maybe because math. I don't know. Anyways, but the punchline.
Won 7 in a row. Wait, they won the first game, lost 7 in a row, won 7 in a row, lost 1, win 1.
Everybody got that?
Literally the entire season right there, in a nutshell.
So, but long and the short, for me, for the Dolphins, like, it's hard for me to give them much credit, even though they won. Like, just because you put out a fire to save the orphanage doesn't forgive the fact that you set the orphanage on fire in the first place.
Yeah, I'm so with you on that one.
So with that in mind, I'm compelled to give them a C-. Because of their coaching change and what's brewing in that front office, I'm not inclined to be optimistic for this team yet. I need to see who's going to fill in that spot at the coaching as the coach.
Right, I'm with you on that one too. C- as well too. But I did flirt with him in D+, because the analogy about the fire was perfect. Because I'll give you credit for taking advantage of a soft schedule to win 7 in a row.
Of course you would as a Patriots fan.
Well, you're the same team that lost to the Falcons and lost to the Jaguars by 3 points each. Okay,
I forgot about the Falcons loss.
That was your damage. You turn on those 2 games alone, you're in the playoffs. Maybe win the division. You know what I'm saying? So you start. Damage was created by you guys. It was created by you, and also the front office. I was tend to put them a D because the front office and what they, not just the firing, but the way, one of the reasons why there was infighting between Chris Greer and Brian Flores is because they had upwards of 3 guys calling plays. Disorganization going on with the coaching staff, So, but I'll give C-. I'll give them credit for getting back into it, but you started firing in the first place. So so this is still your fault at the end of the day. So anyway, next team here we have the Minnesota Vikings, who I believe were 8-9 this year. Yep, 8-9.
They're a nice C team every year. I'm not going to wax poetic on it. Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, and Dalvin Cook can't finish the season because he's asked to compensate, simply put.
So C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a C team that'll get a graded D from me because they're a team that should have been in the playoffs.
I don't agree with that.
Well, the way everything shook out in the last month or so, as bad as they were most of the year, they still had the opportunity to go to the finish line.
I respect that they have the opportunity, but I would argue they overachieved to even get that.
No, they had one of the better rosters in the league, in my opinion.
Fair.
With a quarterback that when he's good, he's pretty good. But again, you're battling with Philadelphia, Atlanta, New Orleans with 25 quarterbacks going this year. you have an opportunity to. Yeah, San Francisco, who was started slow, but you had an opportunity there to grab one of those wildcard spots. I still think Minnesota's a better team than Philadelphia by roster.
Fair.
But you can't get the job done.
Fair.
I looked at Minnesota a lot more higher than most people. That's probably part of the reasons why I did this. So yeah,
my expectations were. I wasn't fooled like you were, but you're right. and you're more scorned. It may be. That's very possible.
A B, really, to be honest, they're a B team that's getting a D.
I'll meet you in the middle. I'll say C- because as I'm looking through, it's funny. I'm scrolling through their schedule, EJ, and I'm like, wow, you beat the Packers? Cool. Wait, you lost to them? What the hell?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
like you have a loss to the Lions and you also beat the Packers. Like, what the F? What do I do with that?
Exactly.
But yeah, in light of the fact that the roster's so good and they're still losing to the Lions. Yeah, I'll give them C-. I'm with you on that.
Okay. Next team here, we have the New Orleans Saints, who were, I believe, 9-8. I believe. Yep, 9-8.
This is not a playoff football team.
No.
This is not a playoff football team. I'm starting to sound like an 80s song. I can't take you serious, baby. No.
I want the knife. Oh, go ahead.
There you go. Granted, I mean, at one point you're trying to decide between Trevor Siemian
or Ian.
Hey, what?
Or Ian Book, really?
Well, Ian Book was desperation. They were forced to start Ian Book. They didn't want to necessarily do that. But it's Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian at one point, and it's just like, no, that's not a good football team. And yet they're in the playoffs. But you're playing a crap schedule. I don't like. I mean, okay, yeah, I get it. Tom Brady struggles against you, and you beat him twice. That's impressive. That should mean something. But your other wins are what? Carolina, the Jets, the fraud cons,
Patriots.
Right, and that's the thing. They beat the Patriots, but that was week 3.
Yeah, correct.
When they wouldn't have beaten the Patriots later in the year.
No, I agree.
And by the way, one of their wins is the Packers coming out, and I'll put it this way: the Saints aren't anything heavenly. I'm going to start calling them the Boondock Saints because there's all sorts of stuff going down. They are just as fraudulent as the fraud cons in my mind. That's right. I said it, Ernest Christian. They just happen to be better coached by Sean Payton.
So this is hard because what'd you give them?
I'm circling around that. I'm going to give them. They're a playoff team. I can't give them higher than a C.
No, okay.
And it's mostly because the only reason they're in the playoffs is because there's an extra spot. Period. Point blank.
Oh, in the playoff hunt, should I say?
What's that?
Well, in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
They didn't get in, obviously, but
Right. Right. The Eagles got in. Sorry.
No, your boys got in.
What's that?
Your boys got in. Your boys.
That's true.
Yeah. So, this is probably the hardest team to grade because even coming to the year, we weren't sure how good they're going to be with Jameis Winston. We weren't even sure. We thought, okay, maybe you throw Jameis to Sean Payton. Hopefully he figures it out. We figured it out. And he wasn't that good, to be honest with you. He was okay, but they were winning games at the time. And then he gets hurt. They fall apart a little bit. They have quarterback carousel going on pretty much the entire rest of the year. And the fact they're even in the playoff hunt to begin with, honestly, was actually a credit to them. This is why I graded the Vikings as hard as I did, because of the fact they had opportunities to do this. And you're battling a spot against a team that's on the 5th or 6th quarterback of the year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I graded Vikings so harshly on that, for that reason alone, on the Saints. The Saints were literally had the Niners not come back on that game against the Rams on Sunday. They're in the fucking playoffs.
Yeah. But it's all on the strength of Aaron Rodgers coming out on a fluff game.
Yeah.
Okay. Having the fraud cons, the Panthers, and the Jets on their schedule.
And that's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying that in totality, though, the fact this team was still hanging around to begin with after everything's going on with them, I think it's a credit to Sean Payton how great he is. So the only grade I can give him is a C, honestly. I can't go.
Listen, I'll go with C-, but I can't glorify them that high when their schedule's that sorry.
I actually consider them going B- because again, we didn't know who they were coming into the year.
Well, not knowing who they were doesn't mean anything to me on that, but
right. So I'll give him a C+. Just hanging around. Good job.
Whatever.
All right. Here we go. New York Giants.
F. Next. We were supposed to get something from Danny Dimes. The defense was supposed to be better, and Saquon was supposed to save the day.
Grade something worse than F-?
You can claim they didn't show up at all and say incomplete.
No, because at least they didn't show up at all and embarrass your fucking selves. F-, not even close.
If you're any more passionate about it, someone might think you're a fan.
Because I am. F-, not even close. There's nothing, and the worst part, there's nothing good you can take away from this team this year. There's nothing you can take away from this team saying, oh, well, maybe have this still going forward. No, nothing there. The defense was okay for a little while. That kept them in some of the games, just cause. But no.
You're in trouble when your team's best news is they might still possibly fire their coach.
Yeah, exactly. So F-, that's easy. Obviously Daniel Jones got hurt late in the year, didn't return. They're down to Jake Fromm from State Farm. So it's quarterback.
See, Jake Fromm.
Move on. Fuck the Giants. Next one, Jets. Jets were I believe the same record, right? No. They were 113 as well.
F. I tried to warn you people about Zach Wilson. You didn't want to listen.
So I want to go D.
Of course you do.
D-, D+ish. D. I'm going D. Because
of course you are.
They had moments this year where, and it looks even better now in hindsight, beat the Titans.
That's because the Titans are bad, not because they're good.
Beat the Bengals, the team that you're high on now, apparently. And they've had moments where they were in some of these games. So, and look, they were easily the youngest team in football. First-year coach. They were supposed to be bad anyway. But I
still feel like they did worse, though.
I feel like between the Jets and Giants, the Jets showed more heart in some of these some of these games in comparison to the Giants. So they were who they. I mean, Denny Green, brilliantly said, They thought they were, and we let them off the hook. They were. Who they were.
I don't think Lumberg was in there. So let me get this straight. They're better than the Giants, who are awful, and that's worth an entire letter grade higher. I can't sign off.
I'm gonna go D- because the only reason was they had some big wins this year against two quality playoff teams in the AFC. One number one seed,
and that's worth an entire letter grade. Okay.
With Derrick Henry for the record. With Derrick Henry, not without Derrick Henry.
Right, right, uninjured.
No, just remember that. Yeah. So I'll give him a D- just because they showed more heart. Even this game is Buffalo this weekend. Buffalo, that score 27-10 is not indicative of how close that game was. Actually, that game was close to late in the fourth quarter. So I'll give it some credit there. They showed more fight than most of these bottom three teams here. So I'll give him a D-.
Okay.
You okay with that?
I'm not. They should be an F, but okay.
All right. Let me see here. I think I got one more team. No, two more teams here. Yeah. Seattle Seahawks. They were
incomplete. I can't in good conscience grade this team with Russell Wilson missing as much time as he did. Okay.
I tend to agree with you on that one, actually. Incomplete.
Yeah, because we knew going into this that this team was going to struggle more than we'd probably like, but still had a chance for playoff action because they have Russell Carrington Wilson. And then when he got hurt, then what?
Wheels came off.
Incomplete.
I want to say complete as well too, but I'm still gonna go D.
Okay.
Because I copy your paper. Shut up. I had him as had him going to the playoffs. All four teams in that division going to the playoffs. And we've been seeing this for the last year or two. This trend of this team is it's starting to come off the rails. D, not Rusty's fault. D, Pete Carroll. D, John Schneider. D, players not playing to the potential. Hello, DK Metcalf, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? So
DK Metcalf.
right,
Yes.
exactly. So that's what's for me. I mean, I see the complete part because of Russ being out for a month, and if Russ plays those games, even if they go 2-2, 2-2 makes you 9-8, which means you are in the playoffs.
Yes, they still could have. They still could have made the damn playoffs if Rusty stayed healthy, and that's not an exaggeration.
Right, because of who he is as a quarterback. So, and we'll see how that whole thing plays out as we get to the playoff, of course. All season rather. Next, and of course, last team here we have the Washington football team, who will no longer be called that after next month. Their record, I believe, was 7-10, right? Yep, 7-10.
Yeah, for me, the Red Tails are the toughest team to grade.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah,
because they're in the worst division, and they've had so much. They had so many problems at home. This student, know, it's really hard to get a good grasp on where to start. And like I said, I don't want to take. I don't want I was cutting the Raiders some slack, for example, when I thought they wouldn't make the playoffs, and as far as grading them and evaluating them because of the whole Gruden situation. That's completely unfair to hold that against players at the very least, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm kind of as I kind of thumb through their record here, I'm noticing they would do exactly what I would think they would do. They beat the fraud cons, but they lose to the Packers, right? They lose to the Broncos, but beat the Bucks. How does that happen? So exactly. Again, all that does is make it more difficult to evaluate this damn team. That being said, they have some, long and the short, they have some wins they shouldn't, and they have some losses they shouldn't.
Right.
And their quarterback situation's a mess, and they still achieved that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that actually, I'm going to give them a C+. I want them to go to the draft, do some great things, maybe bring in a more what's this word, veteran quarterback in the offseason, and they could steal the title from the Cowboys for the division.
I'm going to go C because a lot of people were high on this team, actually. I was not one of them.
Well, that's because we're smarter,
Right, exactly. Like people say, this team in the division. I'm like, huh? No. I did it last year, I get it, but no. Who's the quarterback? Ryan Fitzpatrick, once every 4 games, he's great? No. Mm-hmm. He doesn't play at all this year.
And then Heineke inspired people to drink beer.
Right, exactly. No. But, when you properly evaluate teams the way they're supposed to, you get the right letter grade. I feel like a C. I think given all the mess, and then even the stuff off the field with the Snyder stuff and emails and stuff, they still won 7 games. That's pretty okay for a team that I did not really think highly of anyway to begin with.
Yeah.
So 7 was actually the number I had them at this year anyway. 7 and 10, 7, 8 and something, whatever. Right in that ballpark. So C. I thought it was not a playoff team. Last year was a fluke. I thought Dallas would be better this year. I thought the Giants would be better this year.
Well, that's on you.
Remember I told you the Giants was the big mystery in the division because we didn't know if they figured it out finally, if they signed Galladay and all those guys, but clearly, no. So, C. I'm good with that. So.